Welcome along to F1 Clash 2024 Drivers Reveals. Yes, well underway. We've seen a few teams already, and we're going to get into the business end of these drivers. Starting with then McLaren and Mercedes that were both released by Hutch today. So let's go show you first of all what is included for them McLaren and Mercedes drivers, and then we'll be back to review them to go through in detail. Are they any good? Or are they not going to be used at all? So first up, we have McLaren. So very interested in McLaren released. And now let's take a look, see how that compares. Mercedes. Yep, so there we have it. They are McLaren and they are the Mercedes drivers. The first of our big ones. I know we've had Fernando Alonso already, but the big teams, let's say, are now in there and available to you to see what you think of them. So first of all then, let's start with McLaren style. We will start with Oscar Piastri, the rookie of last season. And obviously he's going to get a big upgrade this season. So we've seen already, obviously, the commons and the rares don't look as strong. They've all been downgraded, basically, for this coming season. But Oscar Piastri still respectfully has some decent stats because of the fact that he's now moved up in the driver levels. So he now comes in at Series 4. It was Series 1 for Oscar Piastri last year. So with that being Series 1, we can now take a look at overtaking of 45 and defending of 40. So not far off what he had this year. We've got a qualifying of 50 and a very poor race start, though, of 35. So that is a quite low stat for Oscar Piastri. His tyre management, though, looks fairly good as a rookie. He's sitting at 55 tyre management, so a lot better than the previous year. So nice, deserving upgrade, I would say, for Oscar. Now we go into the rare card. Let's take a look at the rare. You can see, here we are, Series 8. Now, last year, he was only Series 3. So this is one below pretty much, well, what was it this season? Series 9 had rares up to. So Series 8. And this card actually looks pretty better than what he had last year. So we've got 62 overtaking and 57 defending. We've got 67 qualifying, but his race start is a big hit at 52. His tyre management is not too bad at 72. So for those racing contender, might be useful with a qualifying of 67. You're going to have to use a boost for his race start, though, because that's pretty low. Now, his Epic is going to be one of the biggest upgrades that we've seen probably this season coming. Oscar last year was only Series 4, and he's now jumped up into Series 11. You can see overtaking of 85, massively better than he had. Defending of 80. We've got a qualifying of 90. And then a race start. He's just the one that's letting him down at 75, with tyre management very good as well at 95. So Oscar Piastri, in terms of a GP, is going to be a very usable card, especially in champs if you can get him before anybody else. 90 qualifying is okay. You definitely want to look at 88 plus, really. But we obviously await to see how qualifying truly works. But McLaren, Oscar Piastri, race start boost, if you can add on, will be pretty good at 90 qualifying and really good tyre management at 95. Oscar Piastri getting what he deserves after a stellar first season. And then another guy who's no longer a rookie anymore, not for a few years anyway, but Lando Norris. So Series 5 common last year. It was Series 5 exactly the same. His standout stat Well, it's pretty balanced across the board, but his overtaking is very poor, whereas last season his overtaking was pretty good. Commons reduced down, overtaking of 39. We've got defending 54, qualifying 59, and then we've got race start at 49 and tyre management 44. So his tyre management doesn't look great. His race start's not great either. It looks like his defending and overtaking could be his strongest features. Let's go and find his rare. This year it is Series 9, and it was Series 9 last year. Exactly the same. Again, defending is high, 72. His qualifying is up 77. So decent one for contender Lando Norris rare at that 77 qualifying. We've got a race start, which will need a boost at 67, and maybe a race start boost and tyre management if you want to use Lando Norris rare. Going to be okay for a Series 9, but still a big drop-off compared to the Epic cards. So Lando Norris, with a decent season, looking okay as well. But let's get into, and let's keep the suspense. I know you've seen it already. Lando Norris Epic. We don't have him max, so we'll make sure to click the Stat Max button. And let's compare. So one of our, second biggest Series 12 drivers that is on here. So his overtaking has took a big hit, as you can see. It was 97 last season, only now at 76. His defending has increased by around 8. So he's pretty good at defending if that does play a big part this season. His qualifying, though, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty sure, and we haven't released or seen the others yet, but this Lando Norris is going to be one of the best drivers that you can use in a GP. Reason being, he has 99 qualifying, only 91 for Lando in F1 Clash 2023. But this Lando Norris is going to be one of the best, and I assume is going to be used at the right end of the game. Race start, only 89, a little bit down on the race start, considering he had 92 before. But Lando Norris at 89 will need a small race start boost, but that is pretty good still. Tyre management, 84. Lando Norris, welcome to potentially one of the best drivers on F1 Clash this season. We await to see the likes of Leclerc and Verstappen, even Hamilton. But at the minute, Lando looking very, very nice indeed. So, should we get into then the Mercedes drivers, starting with George Russell. We'll run through the liveries of the cars in a moment as well. So Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri looking fairly decent for the drivers that we have seen, as we remember what we are doing. So George Russell, Series 4 last season. He was Series 4 as well. His best stat looks like race start of 55, and he's defending at 50. Everything else is pretty balanced. You can see this season, his best stat was a overtaking, which is now his worst. So they've changed it around quite dramatically, have Hutch. Now let's take a look at Russell in the rare version. Now Russell in rare last season, Series 8. And as this headset keeps falling over, going to be a nightmare. Series 8. He is Series 8 again this season. We have got 52 overtaking, 67 defending, 57 qualifying, race start up at 72, and tyre management at 62. Again then, struggling on overtaking this year, race start a lot better. That could hold us good for the Epic though. Could really hold us good. He'll be a decent race start there for looking at contender. And then Russell Epic, here we go. So let's compare it to this year. Series 11 and Series 11 yet again. 84 overtaking, that's just down by about 9. 90 defending is well up from what he had before. Well, actually, let's do it properly. Every time it gets me. So, he's down by 20 on his overtaking. His defending is the same as last year. Let's get it right. Round of applause, please, for AzaW getting it right. We have got qualifying, which was 91 last season, and it is now only 80. So his qualifying has reduced down. Now, probably that's fair enough because I don't see him ever performing massively in qualifying. Then again, he is in a Mercedes at the moment. That's his problem. However, one of the best race starts that we have seen so far goes to George Russell as well. He's up there. 95 race starts for George Russell. So in duels, this guy is going to be very usable. He's going to get an absolute brilliant start. And obviously, this is his max stats. Tyre management 85, roughly around the same as last season as well. So if you want a race start driver, you want to be going George Russell at the minute, if you want a qualifying driver, you definitely want what we saw a moment ago with Lando Norris. Best all-round car so far. Apart from Lando Epic, I still like the look of Albon, but I think Lando Epic is one of the best we've seen. But that could change because we've got this man, Lando Norris. So, Lando Norris. I am awful with my words today. Lewis Hamilton, get it right. I'm not even going to edit it out because it's just funny how bad I have been. Lewis Hamilton then, his best stat this season seems to be his race start if we go by his common 59 on the race start, whereas last season his race start was good as well. Overtaking, defending, 49, 44. He's good on tyres as well, but he's qualifying. Now maybe this is in respect to Mercedes not being as strong as they once were, so Hamilton and Russell have taken the hit on their stats, quite possibly. There's obviously a method to why they have done it. Now Hamilton Rare was or is a Series 9, should still be one of the best Series 9 drivers in here, and his race start is going to be fantastic for you, but he's qualifying again, letting him down at 57. He's going to have decent tyre management at 72, and his overtaking and defending is fairly balanced out. That qualifying is not going to make Hamilton very useful, especially if qualifying stat is quite a big importance this year. And then finally, it's epic time. Hamilton up there with one of the best on the game in F1 Clash 23. We will go and find out what the difference is. So, overtaking is better this year than it was, well, in the new season, 2024, than it was in the 2023 at 86. Defending not as strong though at 84. His qualifying is way down. Now, sadly, with qualifying being so important in previous years for GP, I'm arguably going to say that this card may not be useful potentially anymore. Qualifying only at 79. Consider that to Lando Norris, who's at 99. That is a massive 20 points different for the same series driver. And arguably, Lando Norris, his race start, is worth the hit to take because he can use boosts. Qualifying 79. His race start, though, is immaculate. The best probably in the game. Race start 99 for Lewis and 94 tyre management. But honestly, that qualifying, with how important qualifying has been in recent years, sadly, it looks like Lewis Hamilton could no longer be a usable, at the top of the game, Series 12. Obviously, if he is your best leveled up driver, then yes, he will be usable. But GP usually relies on qualifying. I wonder if they will change it. But that are your drivers. Here is your livery. The beautiful McLaren. A lot of people in love with McLaren these days, so I can see you running that in the game. And we also have the Mercedes featuring that black but silver front of their car, all coming in probably the premium pit pass. So let me know down below, what do you think of McLaren? What do you think of Mercedes? How good does Lando Norris look? And how bad do you think Hamilton's qualifying will affect him, making him possibly surplus to requirements?